Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Shai, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Shai, Brakat Yahweh, Brakat Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone Drew Well. A salutations to hopefully elect out there, you Akim to Sadakim, that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shimon. This week's topic is going to be entitled It's Prophecies, Kevin Samuels. Alright, and the inspiration for the show comes from the fact that, I just dropped my father off hospital, Lord willing, procedure he goes through, everything works out fine. But on our way here, we were discussing this whole health thing, because health is very important, and yes, we understand that this place is going to be destroyed, okay? But you don't want to get in the mindset like, oh, this place is going to be destroyed, so fuck it, I'm not going to care about my health anyways. You don't want to think like that. And elder Inap actually, he told me, he's like, years ago, back in the year 2000, that when it was coming up, they was like, screw it, the year 2000 is coming around, they kind of, let themselves go a little bit. And he was just like, that wasn't really the move, right? So it's not the move now either. As much as we see the prophecies taking place, it's never really the move to, let yourself go, so to speak, and not care about your health. Now, one thing Kevin Samuel, he gets on is, he just brings out statistics, right? And this upsets a lot of women, mainly a lot of so-called black women belonging to the tribe of Judah, normally Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, Negroes, Haitians, and West Indian so-called, right, that they're generally fat and sassy. 80% of black women are overweight, and of that 80% is obese. And so me and Palau, we going to the gym, I bring this number up to him, and I'm like, yo, look, let's just look around and look at every black woman you see and observe it yourself. And we noticed that they're either fat, they got the pouch, that little kangaroo pouch. A lot of Issachar women have that too. It's just our women are really fucked up, He highlights the black woman. Really, a lot of the Latin tribes too fall under that curses. You look at the Issachar women here in America, mainly here in America, they get messed up. Now, the black woman, so-called black women, they have this thing like they don't want to take responsibility for it. They'll blame certain things. Oh, it's the food they give us, and the white man, and this, that, and the third. Which, yes, the so-called white man do play a part in it, but the so-called white man is not making you eat bacon, egg, and cheese, or lobster and shrimp. The so-called white man is not telling you stay and drink and don't work out. The so-called white man ain't doing that. So you have to take certain accountability. Jake, I don't know. Jake don't like taking accountability, especially the woman. Woman more than men in anything. And so the point of this lesson is, what Kevin Samuels and a lot of people don't understand is, it's a curse from the Most High. All right, to look like the way the black women look, and I'm like really starting to look at it like, yo, they just fat, round, sassy, can't tell you, you know what I'm saying? That's really a curse from the Most High, because what happened was, in the ancient world, the black woman was the most beautiful. She had the long hair, but what that created was an immense amount of pride, and we already know that Scripture says pride goes before destruction. So when you go to the book of Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, the Most High says, look, instead of a girdle, like a nice figure, rent. And the so-called black woman is fat, she's sloppy, and it's really a curse to us, the men, because if I'm in Manhattan now, and I'm telling my dad, I'm like, let's look around, let's look at these white women, so-called, they in shape, they either run in, they walking the dog, or something. Why? Because the so-called white man won't stand for it. And I was dealing with this Edomite woman, all right, and that topic got brought up. She was just like, she couldn't understand why the so-called black man, all right, settles for it. Like, why do we settle for it? Why do we deal with these women that are overweight? Because the so-called white man, the heathens of the nations, what they do, if a woman is fat, obese, and all that type of stuff, and argumentative, they just won't talk to them. They'll ignore them. They won't even exist. And I seen this shit when I went to college. I was like, damn, they don't even fucking acknowledge them. You know what I'm saying? So that forced the woman to get in shape to find a mate. But Jake, we settle. Jake could kill anything. So what happens is that inflates the mind of these so-called black women even more, to think that, even though the man just went in there for some sex, that, oh, I'm a bad bitch anyways, and they think it's acceptable to be overweight, but really it's a demon in their mind, all right, the demon of pride, all right, that's making them act the way they act and think that's acceptable, man. And it's fucked up because I'm about to head back in my hood, and I'm just looking around, like I'm really starting to look, like, I mean, okay, it was always there, but I never really started to look at it till Kevin Samuels mentioned it. Like, god damn, like, our women are shaped completely different, man. All right, and this demonic ass term thick, man, that shit fucked a lot of our women up too. Because how the hell could Beyonce and Monique both be thick when they have completely two different body types, man? So it's a curse too. So it's a curse that the Most High have them looking like that, and it's a curse. All right, our enemy, the so-called white man, we shall go to the enemy, your enemies for want of all things, set up what they call food deserts, man. So, for instance, I'm driving around here. I'm in Manhattan, right? You don't see a lot of McDonald's, man. You think Manhattan with all these different stores and shit like that. You don't see a lot of McDonald's, man, or Wendy's, and none of that fast food chain. You see the fast food chains in the hood, all right, in the hoods of Brooklyn, in the hoods of the Bronx, in the hoods of Harlem, all right. Now, yes, you do have the option to not eat that shit, but it's like you kind of sometimes have to go out your way, But out here, you walk around, you see the heathens. I'm looking, they walking like their body types is completely different. They still got an hourglass, natural hourglass, man. I'm not talking about no BBL surgery. I'm looking at them like, they got, they walking with their kids, and you know what too? Stress plays a lot of a part in it, because you have when your stresses build up, all right, you release something called cortisol. Now, cortisol acts very different in men than it do in women. Cortisol in men, all right, you get that stress hormone when you working out. It's good, it's good. Like, I mean, too much of it ain't good because you have a hard time sleeping. I was like that, man. I had a hard time sleeping when I was working overnight in the gym. I had so much cortisol, so much stress hormone. It was very hard for me to sleep. But cortisol, when it builds up in a woman, all right, it makes them get fat. So even though these women, all right, are at ease in a sense, because they spoon feed, they hand feed them everything. They got easy jobs. They got jobs that don't require much labor but pays a lot. They give them jobs that they can have their own help from the government. Pretty much they don't need a man to put them in check to say, look, baby, you got to do this, you got to do that. You got to look like this for me, that for me. Their whole attitude is like, I don't need a man, right? So they pretty much do whatever they want, all right? But they still stress the hell out, because at the end of the day, the way the Most High set things up, a woman needs a man, all right? A woman needs a man. And a lot of times these women, all right, after they done did their career, all right, they come out 35, now want to start a family, they stress the hell out because they getting, just popped and nobody's settling down with them. So, there's certain things I do disagree with Kevin Samuels, but there's a lot of shit that he hits points there, because really he's just saying what the scriptures say, how a woman should be and all that. He's not saying nothing deep or anything really profound. Everything how a woman should be, how a family should be structured is found in the scriptures, all right. But that's not being upheld by our people. Our people like to carry the Bible, but really they just do a lot of lip service, man, all right. They God, but they're not really practicing what the scriptures say to do. They're not obedient to their husband. They don't reverence their husband, and that's one thing that dude also brings out, man, the fact that, look, all right, that the black woman, she listen to any other person before she listens to the so-called black man, all right. But guess what? That's also a part of the curses. It's written in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, all right. The whole family structure, I believe it says the one that's delicate and tender shall come against thee. Roughly paraphrasing, I could be quoting that scripture wrong, but yeah, all right. You got women bring forth menstruous children, meaning it's a cycle. It's a cycle being created here that's just making our people drive really further and further into madness. You look at what these nations do with their children. They got them on scooters. They got them eating right. They got them doing all these types of things from a young age. Now, our people, because that's really how you determine what a generation is going to be. It starts with the children, because that's how come we were commanded, when you read the book of Psalms, all throughout the first 5 books, the Lord kept stressing to teach these laws to your children, or your sons, really, All right, teach it to them, teach it to them, teach it to them, because that's going to mold the next generation. You're supposed to upheld what you're taught by your fathers. All right, but then in society, the father structure is completely demolished. All right, they take the father, because a father provides more than just income, man. All right, and when they go into the numbers, you find out that when you take the father out the house, all right, the statistics, all right, are overwhelmingly stacked against the black man, that you're going to either be a criminal, some sort of degenerate, and all that, right? Which that tells you, all right, which that tells you how important that father figure is, man. You know, you look at the nations, they're not going through that, and you can see it in the people, all right. And the fact that the way the black woman is, the stereotypical black woman, fat, short, and sassy, right? It's, you know, hey, look, it's sad when you really think about it, but it's just like, man, it's the curses. You know, the scriptures tell us that they were going to be our enemies in these days, man. And here it is, this man is trying to tell them things that's just facts. You know, facts. You know, like y'all walk around with a goddamn scowl on your face, you know, pushing that energy, you know. These things are facts. And they buck up against it. But we understand, prophets of the Lord, all right? Apostles, elders, brothers of great millstone, those that sincerely do the truth, all right? We understand that, look, the reason these are happening is not coincidence. The Lord said that this was happening, all right? Because really, the sons, all right, the men of Israel, we're supposed to be the Most High's women, all right? We are married to the Most High, His Son Yahushua. Romans the 7th chapter, all right? And the scripture says that what Israel is compared to, I've compared Zion, all right, to a delicate woman. So we're supposed to be the Most High's woman. So the fact that we committed adultery, spiritual fornication, in the form of worshiping these other deities, all right, that's like very disrespectful. So the Most High said, you want to be an adulterous whore? I'm gonna turn your woman into an adulterous whore. And not only an adulterous whore, all right, shameful, ugly, fat, you know, because guess what, right? Guess what? The way we were carrying ourselves against the Most High, it was shameful to Him. It was very shameful to Him, you know. And you look at the other nations, they have not left their God, which are no gods. Them nations, they stick to their goddamn demons and not, you know what I'm saying? They stick to their deities, which are not really deities, okay? Those gods that they worship ain't gods at all. They're just idols, okay? But Israel, for some reason, Israel is rebellious and stiff-necked. They want to worship every other power on the earth except the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. In fact, you know, I'm talking this through the Spirit, all right? You're going to have a lot of Israelite women that's going to rebel. Instead of saying, you know what, man? You know, if this pertains to me, if I'm fat, if I'm overweight, if I've not been treating my husband good, let me change. You know, it's going to be very far and few in between you're going to see something like that, man. All right? Even women that so-called say they're in the truth. Even women that acknowledge that they're Israelite still buck up at things like this, man. Refuse to lose the damn weight. Refuse to honor their husbands. All right? Refuse to really be cooperative, man. Why? Because the Most High has programmed them, all right, to be a shame unto us. Because a woman is supposed to be your glory, all right? The glory of the man is the woman, really, because they can carry our seed, all right? But look at our glory, you know? Look at the representation of the woman, of the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. They're very. It's a shameful thing to say, yeah, these are our women. Why? Because they twerking. All they know to do is shake their ass. Your daughters are shaking their ass. The middle-aged women, even some of the older women shaking their ass. 40, 50 years old on Tinder. That's a shameful damn thing, man. 40, 50 years old, you still playing the field? You know what I'm saying? As a woman, you still out there getting piped down by random dudes? This is madness, man. This is really hell. And as I'm leaving the city, all right, I'm going to observe, I'm going to look, you know, I'm seeing a woman, they jogging, they got their suits on and shit, they jogging. Most of them, you see them, they jogging or walking a dog or something, they active. our women wearing more than us. Ain't that some shit? The average black woman wearing more than a black man. That's like crazy when you really meant it. That's like, you know what that's like, man? That's like them hyenas, man. How the females are bigger than the males. That's a turning of things upside down, man. In part, of course, the so-called white man is to blame because he set these women up in the positions that they're in. All right, he has a lot of influence of how people think and carry themselves. Okay, but heavily, really, the curses, man. Because at the end of the day, all right, the so-called white man can't force you to eat his bullshit. I mean, yes, a lot of shit that we eat, the scripture says, our food is defiled, okay? But he's not forcing you to put no goddamn, McDonald's and Twinkies and all this madness down your throat and then sit on your ass all day and not learn how to cook in these things, man. Not going to the gym. And when I say go to the gym, I mean actually use the machines, man. Not going in there to look cute and take a picture and shit, man. Because when we go in the gym, hey, man, we talk about it. We like, damn, these Edomite bitches look fine. They actually in there working out. They in there going hard and shit, sweating and ropes, everything. When you see the nigga woman, most times she's in there, all right? Latino woman, all right? Native American woman, when they in there, a lot of times, they just in there hanging out, trying to find a man or some shit. They're not really sweating. They're not really doing much of anything, but it's like sort of like a hangout. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking on a broader audience, because yes, you have exceptions, but guess what? The exceptions prove the rule. Okay? The exceptions prove the rule. That for the most part, our women, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? They look horrible right now, man. Their health is all jacked up. They're giving a lot of hell to their man. They're not cooperative. They're not submissive. But when you look at the women of other nations, all right, they're not giving their man no help. They're taking care of their body. I saw the so-called white woman down there, so-called East Indian woman down there, so-called Chinese woman down there, and they're not fucking fat. All right? Being 50 pounds overweight is not thick. That's just fat, man. And fat is a demon. You know? Hey, only thing we got to look forward to, man, is the kingdom of heaven. When them curses going to be lifted. And guess what? The so-called black woman, as much as you see her in this type of state that she's in now, okay, in the kingdom of heaven, them curses, them demons, they're going to be lifted off of them. You know? They're not going to be nagging you to death, man. Because when you read about Sarah, she was beautiful at 90 years old. All right? When you read about Judith, so-called Dominican woman, all right? Yeah, man, in the midst of war was stopping to gaze at her beauty, man. Back in the ancient world, all you needed to see was a goddamn anklet or eyelid and you go crazy. You know? Because the woman weren't revealing back then. But that's how beautiful she was, man. And it's kind of hard to picture that now, man. Because you're like, damn, even the Latin tribes are looking jacked up, man. You know, one time you look at the Puerto Rican Day Parade, you're like, oh, man, look at those mommies, man. Look at those Boricuas and all that, man. They looking good. You know what I'm saying? But those are not their real name anyway, Boricua and all that shit. It's Ephraim, all right? You look at them like, yo, what's up? Now, like, damn, they look no different than a black woman. Round, rose, fat, you know. They opting for this BBL thing, all right? Cutting themselves open, sucking fat from their stomach to their ass. That's completely satanic, man. But they're not thinking about the long-term effect of that madness, man. Destroying your belly button and all that shit. All that just to take accountability. Instead of taking accountability, watching your weight, going to the gym, eating right, all right? They want the quick way out. And even in that, you don't see the heathens really doing that shit, man. It's who? The Negroes, Latinos, Native American, man. Heavy Simeon, and Dominican women, they be doing them BBL shits, man. BBL, Brazilian butt lifts procedures, sucking fat from their ass, sucking fat from their stomach and shoving it in their ass, but still don't have the mentality, all right, of working out, hard work. It's not in their mental. That's still some lazy ass shit to do, you know? And they still overweight when they do that shit, man. So, man, it's like complete hell on all levels, man. Scriptures do say with knowledge come grief. So now that you understand what's happening, what's around you, you get pissed off because most jakes in the world, they're not really meditating upon these things. They just think, okay, this is how things are supposed to be. You know, my woman is supposed to just be fat and shit like that, man. Sloppy. Makeup like crazy. Don't go to the gym and all that. They're getting used to it, man. And that's the poison of the so-called white man, you know. It's a slow death. It's also gradualism, man. You get conditioned to think this is acceptable. When it should not be, man. It should not be acceptable by no way, no form or shape, man, but it is. Hey, so those people that's caught up in this dude, Kevin Samuels, he's getting a lot of popularity. He's saying no different than what Tom Likas used to say. But really, he's saying no different than what the prophets are saying. Because we've been saying this thing, the apostles, going back for decades now, man. Warning about the woman of our tribe, warning about the way the society's set up, man. That is all prophecy, man. Now these people are starting to acknowledge it. But it ain't gonna change, man. How about Shem Yahushua has to come and lift this curse that's put upon us, man. With that, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, about Shem Yahushua, about Hashem Rakakudash. A double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great most on you well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim to Zadakim, that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Hey, Shalom.